we let AI plan our 3-day, 4-night trip here in Mexico City.
This is our first time in Mexico City, and to stay true to the theme of the video, we did zero research prior to this trip. Okay, maybe we did a little bit of research.
Not only are we excited about exploring this beautiful city, we're actually curious on how accurate AI is in recommending top attractions and destinations here in Mexico City.
Be sure to watch until the end of the video and let us know in the comments what you think about the AI recommendations.
And let's go. Alright, so first things first, before our trip, we pulled up our favorite AI robot, ChatGPT, and asked to plan a trip to Mexico City. We included the date and time we arrived and left. We included pertinent info that we researched ourselves. For example, a lot of museums and attractions are closed on Mondays. We included that. More on this later though. We also knew our trip was going to be on the shorter side, so we decided to focus this trip more on food, drinks, and sightseeing beautiful architecture, rather than attractions that would take up a few hours of our day. That being said, we took away the obvious attractions to visit, such as the famous Xochimilco canals, Frida Kahlo Museum, and the ever so popular Lucha Libre Wrestling. We ended up having multiple versions of our itinerary and decided to stick to one that fit our vision for the trip. Which brings us over to our first night in Mexico City. We were pleasantly surprised that AI recommended for our first night to check out the area of Zona Rosa, which was actually the same area where our hotel was. We aren't sure if this was a coincidence or if AI really took into consideration that we probably didn't want to venture out too far away from our hotel our first night out. It worked out perfectly because we ended up at one of the most famous churro spots in Mexico City, Churreria El Moro. Churreria El Moro. Founded in 1935 by a guy from Spain who immigrated here to Mexico City to bring the wonderful food of churros to Mexico City. And since then, it's been a family business. And they've just been going on like generation to generation making these delicious churros. And there's multiple locations here in Mexico City. So we got 2 churros with 2 dipping sauces, a chocolate one and a condensed milk one for 60 pesos. So that's about $3.50. So we'll see how it tastes. All right. Obviously trying the chocolate. So good. Wow. Crunchy, sweet. Just how I like my churros. Day 2. Day 2 was all about the Sokolo area and visiting beautiful buildings and historic monuments. Sokolo is considered the main square in Mexico City, which was the main ceremonial center in the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan before the colonization period. The Sokolo and surrounding blocks played a central role in the city's planning and geography for almost 700 years, which you can definitely see in the detail and history of these beautiful buildings and landmarks. One thing Mike and I appreciated was that AI recommended to visit many of these places in the same afternoon, knowing that a lot of these historical buildings were walking distance to each other. Behind me is the National Palace. It definitely took away the headache of figuring out what to visit when, because AI did that for us. That's definitely a plus for AI. One fun fact about this area is that according to Aztec legend and mythology, this area was considered the center of the universe. How amazing is that? We don't have much to say about the Metropolitan Cathedral, as the architecture and detail inside and out of this building speaks for itself. We're gonna have to thank AI for this recommendation because it was definitely a spiritual reawakening or awakening being inside. Madero Street. Madero Street is arguably one of the busiest streets in Mexico City since the colonial times, so we can definitely see why AI told us to visit this area. Named after the famous Francisco Madero, the leader of the anti-election movement and previous president who was actually assassinated in 1913, this street is filled with historical buildings such as the Museo del Estanquillo, the Torre Latinoamericana, and the famous Casa de los Azulejos, or House of Tiles, which is famous for its facade covered on 3 sides with blue and white Talavera tiles. As we fast forward to 2023, you will also notice famous stores inside these older buildings, such as this Zara, literally probably the most beautiful Zara I've ever been to. And look at this post office. Like seriously, can I just mail things every day? We are inside Mexico City's Chinatown, and it's a lot bigger than I thought. If you look right behind me, look how far down it goes. Full of stores, restaurants, little knickknacks here and there. So I'm excited to check it out. Let's go. The famous Barrio Chino, or Chinatown in Mexico City, has been around since the early 1900s when Chinese immigrants came to Mexico City for better job opportunities when the transcontinental railroad jobs started dwindling down. However, due to public racism and political interests, many Chinese immigrants dispersed and left in the 1930s to 40s, and so the Chinatown today is almost entirely run by Mexican locals. Still, Barrio Chino is considered a top attraction in Mexico City, even getting a full renovation in 2008. You'll get to see colorful decor, hanging lanterns, and traditional Chinese antiques and gifts. What you won't find is any actual Chinese people. One thing that this Chinatown in Mexico City is known for are these like very colorful baos. Not traditional. There's different kind of flavors inside. There's sweet ones, savory ones, and they're fun. They're actually pretty fun, so we're gonna try one out.
¿Cuál bao es más popular? Más popular sería el de coffee, strawberry with cheese, berries. This is the Mexican candy.
All right, they're known for these like really colorful baos. This is their famous Mexican chocolate. He says this is one of the more popular ones, so we're gonna try it. It's hot. It's like inside that steamer. I'm gonna try. No, you just got all the dough. It tastes like a bao. Oh, there you go. It was good. Let me get more of the chocolate actually. Whoa! There's like cherry inside. We're approaching the end of day 2 and we made it to the iconic Angel of Independence. I will never not think of the show House of Flowers, or Casa de Flores if you've heard of it on Netflix, when you see this monument. Literally the best show ever. Let me know if you've watched it too. Everyone was trying to take a picture in front of it, including this cutie doggo. And to cap off our night, literally a nightcap, we ended up at this amazing rooftop bar with gorgeous views of Mexico City during sunset. Who could have asked for anything more? If you're curious on what bar this is, you're gonna have to wait and watch our next video where we talk about 5 unique bars in Mexico City. So subscribe and like our channel. Before we move on to our last full day in Mexico City, here are 3 tips if you plan on using AI for your next trip. Number 1, try out multiple revisions and itineraries. Make sure you tell whatever AI generator you're using what you like and you don't like. For example, if you don't want to go to any museums, tell AI that. If you want to go to a fine dining restaurant, Michelin star, make sure you tell AI that. Keep doing multiple revisions through the AI generator till you find one that's perfect for you. Number 2, be realistic. Make sure you're realistic with what AI recommends in one day versus what you have the energy and capability of doing in one day. Okay, me and Mike are super energetic people. We have boundless end of energy, but even us, we were super tired at the end of the day. And we found ourselves trying to keep up with everything AI recommended in one day. So be realistic with yourself and versus what AI recommends. And lastly, number 3, do your own research. AI is a powerful tool and a great helpful starter guide when visiting a city you've never been to, but make sure you're doing your own research and utilize other people's recommendations even during your trip. You know, AI is great, but it will never beat social interaction. All right, let's move on to our video. We're at Panaderiarosetta, the really famous bakery. And of course, we have to get the really famous pastry roll, which is a guava roll, while we're waiting for a drink. So it's a no-brainer. If it's your first time here in Mexico City, you have to come here to get the guava roll and try all the different pastries. The line was really long, but we didn't wait too long. Like the line went by really fast. We had a quick bite and headed straight to Chipotle Castle inside Chipotle Park. The castle, which sits on top of the hill, was a sacred place for Aztecs, but since then has been home to a military academy, imperial and presidential residence, and since 1939, the National Museum of History. Lázaro Cárdenas was the last president to live here in Chipotle Castle until he decided to move the home of the president to Los Pinos. So after that, it became used by various other things, and it's not just a home for the president anymore after that. The castle is actually one of the only places in North America inhabited by monarchs. The castle itself is beautiful and such a nice place to walk around and soak in all of its history. If you really are intrigued about the history, especially if you don't speak much Spanish, there are many guided tours available that you can book online. We spent an hour or two inside the castle, then rushed back to the Roman Norte district for our reservation at Contramar, which is another reason why, if you plan to visit Mexico City, make reservations early, otherwise you'll be eating seafood at 11 a.m. like we did. Hola. Reservation under PD. I already know that the food here is going to be amazing. We tried making reservations about a month in advance, and the only time that we can make a reservation is 11 a.m. And, you know, if I am going to eat seafood, it's definitely not in the morning. So We weren't complaining too much though, because Contramar is a world-renowned restaurant by chef Gabriela Camara. Both of her restaurants were the subject of the Netflix documentary A Tale of Two Kitchens, and she's one of the 5 new Iron Chefs from Netflix's reboot of Iron Chef. She's also known for social justice, as her previous restaurant Carla in San Francisco was entirely made up of formerly incarcerated staff. In terms of the restaurant Contramar, the restaurant was clean, it was casual, and the food was delicious. Customer service was impeccable, and we would definitely visit again and try out their dinner menu.
So much seafood. Arguably, probably one of the most popular dishes here in Contramar is the filet contramar, which is like this big fish, this fillet of fish, and it's huge. And one side is this like green sauce, the other side is a red sauce. But we're so full, so we didn't even order the big filet. If there was more people with us, if we were more hungry, maybe if it was dinner time, we would have ordered it. But they actually have a smaller version, which is just like a smaller piece of fish. I think it's 200 grams, as opposed to the actual fish that you order is like 600 grams. So the sauces are actually, the red sauce is like a red chili adobo rub, and the green sauce is a parsley rub.
After our filling brunch, we spent most of the afternoon and evening exploring the Roma Norte district and Condesa neighborhood. This was specifically written in AI, and we thought that this would just be a really quick thing that we would do, but we ended up getting lost in Mexico City's beautiful neighborhoods and luscious landscapes and parks. This is probably why AI specifically wrote to explore these areas, because they knew how beautiful Mexico City is, and it made us realize, 3 full days is not enough here in this beautiful Mexico City, and we definitely want to come back and visit and just do more exploring and get more recommendations from AI and from people. That's exactly why we love vacationing and checking out different cities and seeing their culture and just vibing with everyone.
We're coming up to the end of our 3-day, 4-night trip in Mexico City, powered through AI. And you might be wondering, was this a great idea? Is this the future of trip planning? Should we do it again? And I think you have to think about how you're going to use AI in your future plans. If you're strictly sticking to AI for your whole trip, which is what we did this time around, I think it's a bad idea, because we were so tired the whole day. It was like back to back to back, visiting the different places that AI recommended each day, and it wasn't even enough time. So if you're using AI in conjunction with your own planning, I think it's an amazing idea. It's an amazing tool so that you can solidify your plans and get reassurance by saying, okay, well, we found this in our own research, and AI suggested it as well. So let's solidify this in our plans and make sure we go here and visit this place. If you're strictly using AI just for your trip, I don't think it's a good idea. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If you are using AI for your future trips already, tell me how we can do it better. But for us, in our own experience, I think it's better if we use AI and we also do our own research. That being said, that comes up to the end of our video. So, you know what? If you like our video, give it a thumbs up, hit that notification bell to stay up with everything Waking Up with the Wangs, and subscribe for more content like this. All right, thanks for watching. Bye. Just got some mangoes with chamoy and salt and lime, all the good stuff. This was 35 pesos. Oh my god, the mango's so sweet.